it begins. It actually happened. I pressed buttons and I made it work, and it happened. Good evening, Shawnee Mac. How are you, sir? I was sitting there for 5 minutes previous, and I was into it. I was getting going, and I was going, where is it? Because I have to check to the live broadcast that it's coming through. You gotta press another button, further button down the line, and off we went. Hello, folks. Welcome back. If you're catching this on the review, on the restream later on in the fact, thank you very much for tuning in and checking us out. We have been casually AWOL for the last 2 weeks. Didn't get back to chats with you last week. We'll touch in on that, one or two bits to touch in with you on. And I also had a comment from last week, which I will catch up because I did say that I was going to follow it up. I think it was in relation to me talking about the military on the streets and a few other bits and pieces. Now, good day, Nick, and good day, Sean, and SGD. I'm gonna loiter around for first few minutes just till we get a few more members in joining with us. Good day, Lizzie. We'll have a little roll call or whatever. I'm of a mind here this week. I've been muddling it all day, and I'm getting this very Groundhog Day sort of feeling. It's getting very tough to come in and talk with you about everything that's going on, that it's just not just a reaction. G'day, Siobhan. Thank you very much for joining us from Wexford. Appreciate you. Flood cuts. God bless you and all in our sacred home. More and more filling into the room. So I want to touch. I don't want to touch anything, but I just want to touch on a few points to get your feedback. Sort of like I've been mulling it over since we started streaming back in again. I want to kind of get more of your thoughts. Ideally, I'd really like to get you in on Telegram. Like the Telegram link is in the description box down below of the video. If you're a member of Telegram, please do jump in onto the main channel there, and I will try and bring it up just so we can have one or two more voices in the conversation. I know I keep pushing for it and keep saying it, and I don't do anything in the description box now. I'm very laissez-faire these days. It's just a live stream. That's it. Not into fancy overlays, not into doing fancy edits. Just want to get here and talk to you and speak to you live and direct as it happens. So I've one or two little montages just from during the week, and like I was thinking, I could have a clatter full of different takeaways and stuff that I've been viewing and catching up on every week. But every day is so tumultuous. Every day is so topsy-turvy that you really just have to go through your Twitter feed to try and get any sort of sense or resemblance of what everybody's kind of talking or thinking about. Because no sooner is it up on any sort of VT pressed headline that it's immediately memory hold, and we all just kind of drift on. It'll be a day or two's notice now before the DEI horror that ran over and killed Frank Conway in town during the week. But just be memory hold. She lied completely. She didn't have a heart attack. There's no mechanical failure with the bus. But now we're getting justice delayed because we're going to have delayed inquiries. This could take weeks. We don't know. They're running cover for a DEI horror. She lied and a man died, and no one will be held accountable. It's pretty much the story throughout Europe. And I, for one, I'm fucking sick of it. I am sick of it. I'm sick of them coming onto a stream and barking out and just pointing out, have you seen this? What do you think about that? What's your point of view? Seriously, it's beyond that for me now as well. So, and I'm not ranting at you guys in the chat or anything. Maybe someone, one or two that might have been catching the stream once or twice. But what are we to do is more importantly. I am done warning and prevaricating. Like last week, partially part of the reason why I didn't come on last week is because the Epstein stuff just kind of dropped. And I was like, I am not going to rehash that. We did all of that 10 years ago. 10 years ago when it first came out. And I'm not looking for props. I couldn't give a shit. The whole thing for me was about prosecution of predators. The whole reason was for the children and to protect the innocent. And then you just see people walking around going, oh, there's a satanic paedophile cult running the world. You say, oh, what's going on in the football over the weekend? I mean, I've been met in contact with a couple of friends during the week there. I had a funeral to attend to. It was quite a very close to the Monday. Hence, really, there wasn't an appetite to try and be, funny or witty. Not that I am funny and witty in any other circumstance, but kind of just kind of easing off of it, and it just kind of gave me another barrier to step away for another week as well. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of sitting here. It took me, it took me the guts of 2.5 hours to come up with that title. What does it mean, GT? Fuck all. I just had to come up with a title, and the closest thing I could grab to a perspective or to get some sort of handle on what's happening is a sort of futuristic time lapse of it's just time repeat. We just seem to go into these groundhog days. It just seems to rinse, repeat. Nothing changes and rinse, repeat, and off we go again. And I, for one, I'm I'd hate to say bored with it because it's so incredibly nefarious, dark, and malicious. Um, but I know most of you guys, most of you lot are pretty much the same as well. And I know we just kind of congregate around here in the stream to just kind of get a perspective because we've been kicking around together now for a long time, all you hardy bastards, and I really do appreciate you, and it's not lost to me. Just you lot, I'm trying to not say you guys. I'm just saying you lot or you bastards. I'd be very happy to say it, but I think for attracting new prospective subscribers, I don't think it's going to help. Do we even want any more subscribers? Do we give a shit about subscribe counts? None of that. We just want the people that are here, that are tuned to listen in, and people that can make a difference, that are making a difference. Because you all have, all the hardy bastards that have been here for the time. You only have to look at the great lady Kate Daly and all of that. Everybody else that's been run, put their names forward. Our good friend and recently departed Melissa O'Neill, to name but a few. My good friend Jeff, who passed away a couple of years ago. All frontline warriors who put their names forward, came out with their first names, didn't hide behind an account, and actually ran for the elections and put their names down in front of the firing line. My hat salutes you. My hat salutes you. But we need to do more. We need to do more than we can, or anything more than we possibly done. But other than saying what is commonly understood, what is the necessity, what is needed to be done, it's a fucking revolution. Oh, I'm so glad I got that off my chest. I've been holding on back to that for years and saying peaceful non-compliance, and that is a part of it. There's many forms of violence, not just physical violence. We could have a tax revolt violence. We could have a downing of tool violence where we just don't participate in the system for a minimum of 2 weeks to 4 weeks and watch it crumble and fall to our will. I mean, if we don't strike now and do something of note, of consequence, some sort of action of consequences. Katie, didn't even see you there, Katie. Appreciate you. And I haven't excluded many other names. Those of you that have been watching this show that have been lurking in the background, those of you that I never mention, that are and consider yourself a hardy bastard, you know that I mentioned it to you too. I'm talking to the one or two people that just form to mind. I look to my own close quarters and a close gathering of friends, the mere handful of friends, count them on one fucking hand. That's all that I need, you know. My family and my brothers by blood, who were there for me at the drop of a hat. That's all I need. I am not materially wealthy. I am wealthy spiritually, and I am wealthy in family and love and closeness. Even though we've had a very fractured upbringing, we've managed to bring ourselves around for each other. My 4 or 5 good friends, including my landlady, all of the above, who keep this crazy ship on the go, who keep me saying I cannot thank them ever enough. So there's nothing lost on me here for all the years and the time that you and I have been together, all of us together, friends, family, subscribers, whatever you consider yourself, even just a lonely hardy bastard. I really do appreciate you all. But what are we to do? How much more can we do? What else can we do to set us apart? We look for that personality, that leader, that figure, that group of competent people that can inspire. I see it coming from the younger generation, but the problem with youth is that it won't be taken seriously from the next because of lack of experience. You would have to be something pretty outstanding in one field, let alone the political field, where you could capture the imagination of all of us, including that diaspora abroad. But this is not just unique to Ireland at the moment. All of us throughout Europe, throughout this Calergy planning is happening. And the invasion force now stands at some 50 million. One of the participating invasion forces, and that number is from the Muslims in Europe, are now numbering in 50 million. And we understand, and I'll just reiterate for clarification, that that number doubles every decade. From Christian Lebanon, from Christian Syria, from Christian all over throughout the Middle East, the same protocol happens. Political Islam rolls forward. On that note, I'll jump over to a quick video message and broadcast just to kind of encapsulate what we need, what people need to understand. That Islam is not necessarily a religion. It is a carefully, it's a program of warfare, but it is a political ideology and very much a patriarchal system. Fascistic, I would also add, very fascistic. As I say, one of the tenets of a fascistic thing is they have a cult leader, and they have himself in the great sky. So I make no truck with Islam. I have no time for any nonsense actors that are defending or practicing a clearly pagan ritual that is designed to fracture and smash us. And again, all the other, there is only one true religion. We all understand that because everybody else denies Jesus is God, so they are in the fault. And I am not the cheek-turning fucking Christian. I am the smash the teeth of the wicked. But I am, and forever will be, and consider myself a bravo, which is a second in command. I'm not an alpha. I'm not a leader. I will dutifully perform all the duties to make the mission a success behind a great leader. But none seems to be present, or none seems to be capable. Like an Alice Weedle, you know who Alice Weedle is, the chairman of the AFD party. She has managed to capture a good cohort of the members of her public over there, excuse me, and to which we interviewed many years ago. We made 2 interviews with the AFD long ago, and they told us of their intention, and they were very forthright and intellectual and carefully considered people, and they still march forward. It is the system, as you've seen what's happening in Spain with Pedro Sanchez now regularising some 500,000 illegal whatever the fuck you want to call them, but they will be free now to roam throughout the borderless counties of Europe and will go everywhere. And because of the 7-tweet fucking nightmare that is the Drongo O'Gorman's post that announced to the world that Ireland will take you in and give you turnkey latch accommodation in 4 months, clearly knowing that they couldn't do it because of the amount of homeless tents that are running out in the street. But we'd have to push our own aside and push them out to the streets to make rain for the news so that our virtue, our empathetic, suicidal virtue could carry forward, and Ireland in the political sphere would look like it's doing above and beyond its means, even though the papers today, and I'm not going to pull them up, it's just for our own perusal. Papers today now saying that Ireland's state aid to Ukraine hasn't been enough as nearly some of the other similar small islands, and that we must do more. Like, we haven't given refuge and sanctuary to 200,000 plus and 120 plus arriving every week, and giving them direct provision straight above the homeless children that still roam out in the pissing rain. Pissing raining here in Europe, particularly here in Ireland, for the last 2 weeks solid, with the odd hour break here and there, but pissing continuously. Harp in full effect. I'm not going there. I'm not a conspiracy theorist anymore. I'm a new. So I catch you with your chats there as well. Like, I did say a video broadcast just to reiterate the point of political Islam, but let's see what we can do. There's your man there at the screen. What? What's he like? Awful messer. Where are you? What do you mean? I don't even have the one that I wanted. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Political Islam. Let the FBI tell you all about it.
Ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the entire world called a caliphate. And under that, Sharia, or Islamic law, is the law of the land. That's it. Islam is no more complicated than that. Islam breaks the entire world into 2 parts. The Dar al-Islam, where Sharia is the law of the land, and the Dar al-Harb, the house or abode of war, where there is not Sharia as the law of the land. The function of Islam is to eliminate the Dar al-Harb until the entire world is a Dar al-Islam. And the vehicle to do that is called what? Jihad, which in 100% of all published Islamic law is only defined as warfare against non-Muslims.
That'll be you and me and all of us together. So, again, the dog in the street knows it, but we live in such a... Just going to pop out the chat here so I can keep an eye on you all when we're perusing through. But the world on the street, they are, mainstream press that runs cover for all of this. These are your friends, these are your neighbours. The scary far right wants you to throw out your neighbour onto the street. All this kind of sophistry in language that they use time and time again. And I'll drop that down there out of the way. So just to get some of your thoughts. Let me transition back over there, but keep it silky smooth. I'll go through some of the Twitter feed later on as well. Again, just playing video bursts and video montages for yourself. It's just re-emphasizing what we already know. Re-immigration, mass immigration, it has to take place if any semblance of a safer society, not even a homogenous society, but a safer society. I've spoken ad hominem, no, ad nauseum. There you go. I'll get there through my Latin dictionary. Where we have spoken ad nauseum about the immediate benefits to the housing situation when the demand is released and the pressure on the system is released. Statistics coming in from 1 year after the deportations beginning in the United States that the median house prices drop away significantly. Greedy landlords don't want that, but for the help of in reducing inflation and for the cost of living crisis, a reduction in your monthly outgoings to your mortgage to service your 30-year debt would be very much welcome. And that again in tandem would lie with a reduced burden on the health service, with a reduced burden on population or traffic, on anything else you can think of. Every marker, every discernible marker would be known to make a decrease increase because you reduce the demand and you can alleviate supply or you can increase supply when the numbers are taken back. Appreciate that, Dolores. I was actually, Dolores, you remind me there, it was Dolores Cahill come up in conversation there today as well. A lot of people throwing out props to Dolores for her time and for her stance during the situation, which hasn't gone away, which we will, of course, obviously talk about. Just going to jump through here. Everybody on the dog in the street knows now, but a matter of, for the GOP Judiciary House Committee in the United States has confirmed that the EU has interfered in 8 European elections from Slovakia, the Netherlands, France, Romania, Moldova and Ireland for our presidential election and for the general elections. Will anything come of it? Will anything be said? Will anyone be held to accountable? It seems now clearly to me that it's going to be outside forces again. Only outside forces will alleviate or help our situation, which is very unfortunate. But we must, I feel, we must try and continue to help ourselves and those around us. Sheepdogs in the house. 20 press-ups, 20 sit-ups. Sheepdog, I know you're fashionably late. Fair play to you. I was here from the very start. And again, America is outlawing and naming the Muslim Brotherhood as the terrorist organisation. But Ireland, dear old Ireland, will run cover for the Muslim Brotherhood, even though the Clonskeagh Mosque got taken down and shut down, just like that, just because they were probably holding arms and weapons of all description. If you're paying attention to today's media, I'm sure we'll come across it. I'll go through today's stroll, but there was a heist on the motorway in Italy where culprits got away with some 2.3 million in euro from a security cash transit van. But the scene was like heat or something like that. AK Kalashnikovs, C4 detonating charges, all this military-grade weapon that's just poured into Europe. Somehow they've managed to get their holes on it. What do you think is coming down the line with the unquantifiable amount of weapons that were shipped in from the United States and that near only some 10% seem to make its way to the Ukrainian war and the rest scattered throughout Europe? Fractured times indeed. So, Lydia, we kind of are, we are kind of on our own. But on our own is a position that we should look to make ourselves comfortable in that uncomfortable position, as I'm oft wont to say. Trying to get some of your suggestions there. After you've all said hello to each other, I'd like to try out some of your suggestions. Maybe some thoughts on events in the week. Now, let me turn to what I think of it as well, because I'm sure the commentator will probably come to it later on if they're not watching here live. But I want to run through the full comment, and I did say I would touch on it, so I will just go through it quickly. It may grab your attention, it may not. Let me see if I can get it to hand quickly enough here. Could be anywhere, but it was in which conversation was it? Let's go to the live. I do apologise to you folks, do bear with. I think it would have been the last one as the first screen there. I'm not going to switch it on there. Press pause. Well, it was in regards, as I said to him, my stance of, I think I stood over it. In fact, you know what? I won't mutter and stutter. I will get to it promptly next week. I will get to it promptly next week, and I'll address it in its full. There's no point me looking for it on the fly there and expecting to give you a reasonable answer of any sort of description. Last but not least, another thing we must all diligently keep our eyes on the prize is the fallout from and the adverse reactions that are now presenting more and more peer-reviewed information coming out. Ireland's death toll, excess death, still on the rise, still climbing, still not a mention in mainstream media. We must keep, and even though, like in general conversation that I have, and it's a shame, like some of the young lads, some of the young people, the young fellas that are on sites and stuff like that. As I said, I don't know if I said it to you last week. I'm finding more and more satisfaction in the young apprentices and young groups of lads that are around different sites. I mean, you would have seen on a site there during the week there was a big fisticuffs fight on a site. It seemed to be, I think, two different aspects of New to the Parish were fighting amongst each other. I'm not completely sure if any of the Irish were involved. But that is going to happen more and more because that cheap labour is getting pumped into more and more sites and is undercutting the skilled labour. Because same in the housing situation, greedy landlords are chasing the fat profit. Greedy landlords are going to sign over their properties to the state on the reckoning that they'll have a 5 to 8 year contract with full maintenance even contracted if they house a international protection or a Ukrainian, but definitely not an Irish person. Definitely not going to. We can see the instant bias and discrimination in it straight away. But what I'll say and what I'll maintain is that somewhere in that fine print or somewhere down the line after a specific time period, that home will become the state's property and not your property anymore, and that you've signed it over for a cheap, easy buck. They may let it roll out for 6 or 7 years, let you succumb in the luxury of whatever dark money you've made your money on that, on selling it out there and kicking Irish couples out on the street. But that, I guarantee you, that property will be taken over you because they have maintained it, they have paid for it, and they will muscle you out of that property. And it'll only be a matter of time, or they'll wait till inflation gets outright out of hand. And unless you're a multi-millionaire, you're not going to survive the next great reset. As prices go through the roof, as production lines are shut down, as manufacturing is shipped abroad, and as we become a consumer economy dependent on our manufacturing and our food from outside this island, this once bountiful and great island, will have to seek its Brazilian beef and steroid-ridden chickens from across the waters, because we won't be allowed to do here because carbon zero for climate change. We must stop the waters from increasing into Fairview Valley, down in Clontarf, and flooding everywhere. Flooding is happening everywhere. So there are all sorts of mysteries and there are all sorts of narrative grabs going over. The Epstein list being released. We're all aware of the Epstein list, but what it's serving now too is all the main normies coming around now and actually reading for it, and it's because it's quantifiable now, coming out and an understanding of what the fuck they were actually up to and what they are still continuing to do, and that the biggest drug not only is children but is the product of those terrorised children, adrenochrome. Why was Jeffrey Epstein here in Ireland? We covered that many years ago. Who is he specifically connected to and tied to here? Through his connections through Bill Gates. Who is out on RTE now saying that we must clamp down on racism and that we must not look further into the Epstein files for their Irish billionaires' involvement with all the other international billionaires, and that our particular Irish billionaire owns two standard hotels on, what's the first disaster place? Haiti. He owns two hotels in Haiti where they were ordering hot dogs and pizzas to the room as part of room service. And again, as big and as big and as dark as we think this is only the tip of the iceberg. Other people mentioned in the Epstein list very, very rarely took was also Zelensky. Zelensky also being named as one of the dark human traffickers of Europe. Won't be touched. He's got a ranch for his mother in Florida, and he's got a big ranch for himself. GT, great to see you streaming. I used to watch your old streams regularly a few years ago, especially with Gemma. Yeah, look, Gemma's out and about there. Appreciate that, Streaky. Thanks for jumping in. But as I say, we're kind of going through a cathartic stage here on this stream. Do stick around and throw out some of your suggestions. Are any homesteadings in Ireland? Yes, Lily, there are. Uh, the Big Bear, Owen Benjamin, was one of the stark inspirations for that. Good call, Shawnee Mac. Stuck in one there. You knew exactly who it was. I can't say his name, but it's in the comments section there if you want to have a look, or it's on the live chat there now from Shawnee Mac. I got thrown off my point there. Um, was it what was it? 15% that said no. Probably if that 15% will even survive what's coming down the line. Yeah, so I kind of needing that feedback for my thoughts here. Like I said to you, I've been struggling with the format. Sometimes I just want to come in and chin wag like this, just chin wag with you and spitball and spit how I'm feeding, how you're feeding in the chat and during the week, and maybe just blow off a bit of steam. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, look at this. Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, look at this. Now, as I said it time and time again, I do appreciate Daz News. I do appreciate Michael McCarthy. I do appreciate all the accounts that are speaking out, but it just seems that the new to the parish, or to those that are newly emboldened to speak out because it's comfortable to do so in this time, not only are making great fracture, but it just seems one podcast after another podcast, and I'm doing a podcast, she's doing a podcast, and fuck all is getting done, is my point. No organisation, no, let's pick out these 4 or 5 people. Like, I'd even go as far as go with the Paul Trevard, I'd go with the Una Mullally, I'd go Elaine Mullally, I'd go with Nick Delahunty. I'd put them out there now as a starting block. People that will tepidly touch on the subjects. But again, if you're not talking about re-immigration, if you're not talking about removing people from the welfare system, if you're not talking about deportating families, children, those that are like outnumbering 30 to 1 in some classes, going forward, because they have no entitlement to this here. If we bring it back to the fraudulent start, for me, 2005, for some for some other hardliners, like my good friend Satirical Soldier, 1975 is when the fraud started. And I am always one for harping this on, and I've seen a few of my other far right nut jobs out come speaking on that again. But fraud vitiates everything. It can be a complete reset. We just need to bring them to account. We just need it to be brought to account. Yeah, just a constant, sheepdog, just a chat, just to check in, because I am fucking sick of bringing bad news to you, or horrific or horrendous news. And it would be discombobulating if I was just come in here, laugh and joke, and completely ignore what was going on around me at the same time. You get it? 2002 for you, sheepdog. What specific starting point to that? 2005 for me was the referendum of the anchor babies, the 2005. 75 was the start of the EEC, the European Economic Bloc, as it was started out there. It was just for trade. And now we've got this unelected fucking bloc joining the EEC now, and the EU. Yeah, 100%, Shawnee Mac. 2002 was 1970 when we went into the EEC. But the EEC is the EU. It's essentially the same animal, just rebranded. Let's jump over to the Twitter feed here, because it strikes me that this is also quite funny as well. I don't know if you've seen it. For those of you further afield there, it's it's this woman here. Like they keep saying, the wokeism is off the charts here in Ireland. It certainly is. This woman here, this woman from Hungary, and I won't even make an attempt to pronounce her name because it's not fucking Irish, but she failed the beep test. If you understand, for military, for police, and for firefighters, obviously there is what's called a beep test. It's just running a certain distance under a certain amount of time and staying in the designated time for a minute or whatever from point A to point B, and repeating it as it gets faster and longer to check your cardiovascular and to what level of fitness you're on. It's a sort of a barometer. Irish 55, 7 degrees GT. It feels like some are rage baiting their own people, showing the same all the time. Yeah, and I get that. I don't want to be a party to that as well, But I mean, just jumping back over here, this woman successfully sued the state for 8,000. Like, they probably fucking told her how to go about it, because she couldn't pass the basic test or the requirement to be a firefighter, but then was able to take a case against the state for for discriminating against women. I mean, women don't need man. We'll definitely go to the jungle with 100 gorillas, or one gorilla over 100 men, or one man, whatever the fuck that is. You'll do none of the sort. You'll do nothing. We can't live without you, and you can't live without us. and never the twain shall meet. That's just the way it is, pure and simple. And we better just get along with getting along with each other. Just go through some of the accounts as well. Susan Delaney here, if you're not following her account, as part of the Irish Inquiry, her and Stephen Kerr as well. Suzanne talking here, and I think Mandy Gall is the quoted account there, talking about a doctor not struck off. Here we go, folks. Check out the title. Doctor not struck off by panel over one-off rape. Check it out, folks. It was just a one-off. It was just a one-off rape. It was just, come on. It's a fucking one-off. He's new. He doesn't understand. That's their culture. You have to respect their culture. It's just a one-off rape. It's like the poor 16-year-old child in Sweden whose accuser was released because the rape didn't go on for long enough. Can't really count as rape if it didn't go over 5 minutes, if it didn't go over 10 minutes. It just didn't happen long enough, so we're going to let him off with a slap on the wrist. All these poor, innocent women, children and men who have their innocence, who have their lives turned upside down. Like the fucking Vici prostitutes. You can never hate the press nearly enough. Fuck them all. I hope they all burn in hell. And anyone that considers themselves a journalist in any way part, if you hold that institute or that trade, as you call itself, to any sort of standard, it's like pretty much like doctors, scientists and engineers. It's pretty much a fucking sham. And you should, just even as a moral person, regardless if you consider yourself a journalist, just as a one-off good person, you should be speaking up about this. You should be speaking up and talking about this kind of bullshit. Like the DEI hire from the bus driving force that killed a man and will be held up in a court of inquiry. As I said, justice delayed is justice denied. Frank Conway's not going to get justification for just walking down the same route that he's done for 40 or 50 years in his life, only be smashed down by a woman who was clearly incompetent and shouldn't have been put in charge of a fucking 20-ton bus perusing in and around pedestrians. Because the first thing she did was fake a heart attack. Oh, I'm having a heart attack. To try and lie and get her way out of trouble. She needn't have worried. Irish press will take care of that. Irish political class will deal with that. Anything DEI is protected. You can kill, murder, rape and loot the Irish, and our politicians, our media will protect them and will lie for you because it's a good thing. Like we are told now that there's more AI, there's more foreigners using AI now to protect the narrative of you need foreigners in your country because your fertility rates are dropping down. We've been attacked for the last 50 years. Our fertility rates, no incentives have been put in place to return the what's it called? The replication rate of the fertility rate from to above 1.6. 1.6 is what's needed to maintain a society from generation to generation. We are now surpassing or dipping below 1.1. And again, that's not to say that can't be positively turned around, but it needs harsh action. As I said, positive discrimination. I heard another commentator mentioning that as well. That used to be taboo, but I think we were one of the early folks to use that as well. Positive discrimination for the Irish, and fuck the begrudgers. And I know there's a lot of swearing tonight, but it is what it is. DEI, destroy everything Irish. Very good, Pat Com. I like that. Need a clear out. Yeah, but who's going to do it? I get it. I would do it, but you have to be nominated. I would be that bastard for all infirmity, and my own would hate me because I'd be ruthless. I'd be ruthless in ripping out the cancer. And again, ripping out the cancer is not the right idea, but what I'm saying is, in a cancer sense, because new information is coming into me about that, but what I'm saying is, take it out at the root. Take it out at the root and pull the fucking whole ground up all around it. Whatever's hanging on trying to protect it, fuck that back in the sea with it as well. But we need someone with that sort of motivation. They don't necessarily have to speak like me. They have to be clear and concise. They have to be, I suppose, well regarded. But they most certainly do have to be willing to risk it all. Because everyone that steps up or tries to stand out, obviously trying to hedge their bets. You got the likes of Declan Ganley now, who's on the side of the White House, is on the side of the little guy now. Never forget, he controls Nvidia networks, who rolled in 5G into Ireland. And as I asked him, as he debated Herman Kelly many years ago, do you know any of the safety parameters from the United States on the 5G towers? Hadn't a fucking clue. Doesn't know what any of the safety parameters. None of us are ever told what the safe limits are of any of the 5G towers. Just accept it. It's good for you. Don't worry about it. But again, any of these fake fucking leaders that pop out, even some of my own friends are going to come down on as well. Because for what? The same amount of time, I'm talking to you, John Waters, for the same amount of time that I've been talking about it, you're selling books on the same fucking topics. You're still a screaming classic liberal, still hanging on back to your rock and roll days and early year days. People will give out to me for giving out to John, but I don't give a fuck because I'm sick and tired of repeating the same bad roads, the same recognition of what is happening as the problem exasperates and gets worse and worse. And no one solid is standing up and saying, this is bullshit. No one of note is able to stand up and say, and take it on the chin, say, this mass experiment of multiculturalism is an absolute dog box, isn't working. And why are we repeating the same process, expecting different results every time, and coming out with the same outcome and blaming ourselves for not doing it harder? It's a fucking moronic nonsense, and I'm bored with it. I am fucking bored with it all. Said in one of the broadcasts there, I'm waiting for my king. Whatever that one leader is, I swear to God, I will die on the hill for you. I will make it happen. We need people, male or female. But I'm not going to call pushes on this. It has to be male orientated because men are the only ones that are going to fucking hack and slash and tear this country back and get to the back to the basics of the roots. Not discounting. And I said everybody has a role, and I'm not apologising for it either. That's just my viewpoint. If you don't like it, jog on. That's the way it is. I guarantee you all here and now they will blame mechanical failure on that crash. I've no doubts that will happen. They will try. They will have to come up. They'll have to coerce some mechanic or someone to put a report in that there was a fault line. There was clearly nothing wrong with the vehicle. It was that she was incompetent and hadn't the merit, hadn't the intellectual IQ to fucking maintain that bus and run it. It's a very specialised trade, but it's open to all low fodder, low cannon, low idea people that have no business driving a bus because they haven't got the capability or the competency to do so. You can all remember what, 2008, 2007, not long after the crash, Dublin Bus was dying on its feet and it was getting bailout after bailout because it wasn't providing the service that people would use that would give it the funds it needed to replicate itself and to keep itself in business. It was very nationalised and it was too encumbered with state debt and state dependency, and it just fed off the state more and more and didn't care about economising the fleet of buses that it had or making savings left, right and centre. It knew it was going to get a state benefit handout, pretty much like the mainstream media here in Ireland are doing the exact same thing. They don't have to check the facts. They don't have to be right. They just have to follow the narrative because that's what they're paid for. And the only people paying them is the government that are ripping and robbing us of the money that they are spending because government does not create fucking money. It only spends it. And all this GDP well figure now, as the headlines creep out, you've seen it there as well, Ireland is not as rich as it once thought it was. Yeah, because big pharma, manufacturing and business is pulling out of Ireland. As we've long said, what are we going to do when the fucking GDP figures start dropping and that the new imports aren't going to mask the falling figures, which are happening now but are inflated because of the growing population, which is a good thing. And can't you not just pipe down and consider our international obligations so that I can take my double pension, my payoff, and fuck off to another country or work abroad in the States? And all these rich Gambian landlords and all of you that are dipping your pot into it now, I guarantee you will lose your profits. And if you do not make over 200, 300 million, you will not be part of the big club that will be here in Ireland, of the oligarchs that have and the poor fucking potato farmers that have not. You will be in that cast because there will be, and there is no middle income because middle Ireland is being decimated by fucking energy costs. And another cheap fix straight off the bat that Germany could fix. They could reintroduce Nord Stream 1. They can reopen trade negotiations with Russia. They could do it all differently, but they are doubling down because they are losing control to the ordinary man and woman on the street who they call the far right. When are the far right going to down tools? That's all I'm asking you now. Down tools. Stop paying taxes. Stop turning up for work. Stop doing anything extra. All of us shut down at one time or another. The system will fail. They keep goading us to come out in the streets and shut down the streets, but they'll inflict maximum force doctrine, which is violence. But we can use violence against them of our pen, as the Muslims are being trained to do with their pen. We can use our purchase power of our wallet to inflict violence on them by not spending, making our bulk purchases in one off and then riding the storm out. Something like and again, I was going to use the word collective. And I'm just spitballing ideas here. But until I see a man or even a woman, don't get me wrong, ladies, I love you. You're all beautiful. But someone of authority that can stand up in front of a crowd and can wrap it off and get people motivated, get people inspired to fucking get active, get engaged. I have near 90% to 100% positive rate when I interact with new people on site or new people on interaction. The conversation is already open about needing something new. The conversation is already, people are already aware deep down that if we don't halt this trajectory, not even slowing it down, if we don't reverse the course soon, that the whole of Europe will be lost. But I don't care about the whole of Europe. I only care about my country. I only care about this country, Ireland. And I only care for those that will bleed for it and love it to death. You know, I have to be mindful and cautious. But we are going to go through the ropes. So are we just planting seeds now? Am I just planting seeds? Are you just planting seeds? And hopefully this will come around. But if this technocratic fucking panoctagon, which the UK now, remember all these words I used to say, panoctagon? One of the fucking UK MPs will start speaking it out there. Shaboob, whatever, another Muslim fucking leader. They're deliberately discriminating against the Irish. Yeah, 100%. That's why I'm saying we need to positively discriminate against everybody else and start looking after our own. Start placing ourselves as first-class citizens. There can be first-class, second-class citizens. I will abolish the class system. I will just make the class system, poor, middle, and top income. It'll just be Irish and everybody else. You're Irish, you're in that class, you're in the club, you'll be looked after. You'll be incentivized to have more babies. You'll be looked after with tax reduction, and we'll make everything as possible to you. Second-class citizens, you're not a full certified citizen. You're a green card holder, but you're here. We welcome your. We have a need for your labour or your intellectual property, and we'll work on that kind of stuff. These can all be steered around if we can just get business off the DEI suckle because they're getting cheap credit. All Soros, all the billionaire class are throwing money at them to promote this nonsense. That's why I'm saying to you, when Dublin Bus was running around on its arse screaming out for money, as soon as the DEI trap came into place and they were able to get cheaper and cheaper credit, that they were able to upgrade their fleets, all they had to do was keep sticking on the DEI advertising on the side. You know what I mean? The permanent black face, no Irish faces here. The permanent Indian face, no Irish faces here. You know what I mean? Or any of the fact where the Irish faces do appear, it's in some sort of report to a crime. It's constantly not even marketing. It's propagandizing to people. It's gaslighting us into be ashamed for who and what we are. No longer, no more. Never has been the case. But there's quite a handful of medicated fucking retards walking around amongst us, and they need to be interned as well. Back to the asylum seekers, to the asylum centres. And your one main criteria for entry into this border is to pass an IQ test. If you can do it, come on in. Happy days. You're more than just a button presser. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away here. I could get quite used to this. Am I making sense, or am I just speaking the same stuff that you're hearing time and time again? So I'll put out the shout to it now. I'll make the statement now. It could get clipped. It could be largely ignored, but I'm sharing it with amongst you. I'm done talking about it. I want action. I want affirmative action, not DEI affirmative action. So DEI hire 30% now for all public jobs. Another startling statistics that just fucking boggles the mind. For every one taxpayer, he is carrying he is carrying 2.6 dependents. For every earning private class citizen, tax-paying citizen, there are 2.6 people suckling off that income that the state is reimbursing or dispersing to them. 2.6 piece. So for not even just like 2 for 1, it's 2.5 for 1. For every 2.5 people that are not working, for every one person that is working, you're carrying them fucks. You know? It's only a matter of time before Ireland follows suits on the carers over here. Carers are getting taxed on the state benefit that they're given. The benefit that they're giving is now being taxed again before they even get to it. That's coming here as well. We shouldn't have to live like this for number one, but we shouldn't be accepting it for number two, and we need to fucking pull our socks up and grow ourselves a couple of spine. How that takes, I think, is more affirmative action, is by more communication, more coming together, and then instituting block strikes of non-payment, of steering your purchasing power to local shops or to this individual shop and discriminating and cutting out these other shops because they're going to have plenty of footfall and plenty of their own customers because there's going to be no one in the middle of the city that's Irish that's going to be doing anything. God bless the poor stall keepers that are left on Moore Street or any of the other stall markets throughout the rest of the country as well. Going to be decimated and brushed aside. Some towns and counties throughout Ireland here now being outnumbered by some 20 to 1, 30 to 1, and that's just that's just me keeping it on the conservative side. I would say in the Morrison's 50 to 1 people. Towns and counties are being overpopulated and overrun. And your fucking treasonous, treacherous government did it. Not our government, not the leaders that we wanted, but these European fanatics have sold us and continue to sell us all out. And need to be held to account. So, yeah, thank you for letting me jump on here and getting it off. It's a humiliation ritual. Yeah, we are aware that it's a humiliation ritual. I'll say to you through my research way back in the day, the book. I'm trying to remember her name, the author, but the book is called ISIS Rising. They've all read it. All of those in the big club, from Epstein to all of them, they've all read ISIS Rising because that was your entry. If you understood that book, what it was about was essentially the 2,000-year-old plan to remove and eradicate white Christians from Europe, which is where it's coming, to get rid of the white. It's a war on Christians who in the main and the majority reside not out in Europe. But I was going to say that I was sharply shocked there as well. People were criticising this black man who's sitting in a church and quietly minding his own business, probably praying to Christ, when two of the Middle Eastern new to the parish come in and started slagging him, and he went apeshit on him. How dare you? That's my kind of Christian. Yeah, we knows who they are. We don't have to be discriminatory about that. All eyes are on Israel. All eyes are on Mossad, and all eyes steer back to Epstein, which ties in with satanic satanic flesh-eating pedastry. It's the only way I can put it. Yeah, so 2.6 layabouts. It's unsustainable. It can't continue. Maybe they just keep throwing money at this situation till the actual breaks do come off it. Because I have read only there today that the banks in England, the UK bank, Barclays banks throughout the UK are down, and that people cannot draw their money. Is there anybody that can confirm like that in the chat there, boys and girls? Anybody else? But I have seen it that the Barclays banks and bills aren't being paid. Project Roxanne, people, be aware. What's that one there? What is shambles? Project Roxanne, not totally aware of that one. Yeah, look, we can use cash till the cows come home. But if they make it illegal to have or to hold in your possession, there's going to be very little call for it. So it's back to kind of bartering or some other forms of digital currency that can bypass their system. But I think it's only a matter of time, really, when the Irish Times start talking that Ireland is perfectly suited for 12 or for 15-minute cities, you know. It's the slow cook, the slow boil, the water is bubbling and bubbling. Digital IDs will soon be talked about. Like, we're doing this as part of the state takeover of X. They're trying to take over or to make the state a stakeholder in X here in Europe. Essentially, they'll ban all American social media platforms and they'll try and come up with their own version like the Chinese have with the We app, whatever. It'll be your all-in-one, which I think is what Elon Musk is trying to make X. It's a video production. It's a quoted word production. It's a marketplace. It'll be your bank. It'll replace Revolut. It'll have its own currency, Dogecoin. He's already made billions on it. He's got billions of it. That's the currency that X will use to be a part of its banking system. But that'll all be just, I would suppose, or surmise, would be another slow drip to digital ID and CBDC in some way, shape, or form. Where is the chat gone there? Where is the chat? So I'm coming back to the end of it. Any of your thoughts out there? Anything you want to say? Have I hit anything? Is there anything we can be doing? Is there any suggestions that you may ask? Is there anything that we can do? I'm just looking for your solid but can't confirm GT. Appreciate that, Sheepdog, on the island. Is her name Jean Stewart GT? Who was I referring to there, Fitzer? Jean Stewart. It was the lady's name I was trying to call there, wasn't it? They tried to do it with the school bus that crashed years ago. That killed a few kids. Not the ER, but they tried to blame the Diabs for turning over a bus. Ex machine. I appreciate that, Sheepdog. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, the your man getting killed in the street. That'll be memory hold. Memory hold in a week or two. Something's gonna happen. Like Ukraine is falling on its knees. Its nuclear capacity has just been reduced to half. It's -20 over there. There's no heating and lighting for more than an hour during the day. Again, I would see that as a test bed situation for what they want to roll out throughout Europe. They're going to some way disarm our power, our electricity. It's going to be a shambles. You won't be able to get to banking. Like it's like small little tests is what I feel. So that when the shutdown comes, when power is gone and it's taken and food access and transport is shut down for a week, think of the chaos for a week. It has to be something like that, something dramatic like that, where everything is off for a week or 2 weeks. People are losing their fucking mind. People are dying. People can't get access to water. Services are down. It'll be that chaotic for a week or two. And then you'll have a mission transport. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, we know you can't get access to your account, but what we have here is CBDCs. Use this in the meantime till we get the financial system back on track. Please use these digital IDs in the meantime, and we'll take care of everybody. And we've all slow walked into it, you know, that sort of way. Mind what fuel you put into your body. Yeah, 100%. Start your guard. We've been saying that like since can't think of my good friend who we used to stream it weeks ago. Do you remember? She will absolutely batter me. I better go through the archives here so if I can. Fiona, sorry. Was it Fiona? Oh my God. Live chat, you better pop out there. The good lady herself who was bringing us all through our understanding of communitarianism. I'm kicking myself here. I am kicking myself here. Can I go? Where are the videos? Fuck, I can't leave this one go. I have to find out. I'm pretty sure. I'm looking through here now. And if you don't remind me, it's all your fault. It can never be my fault. It's your fault. Not Mary. Not Jean either. I'm just looking through. There we go. Marie Flanagan. Where did Fiona come from? Fiona Marie Flanagan. Fiona, my apologies, Fiona. Sorry. It's not that I haven't thought of you. But it was Fiona in our earlier conversations and our early streams. I'm looking at it there now, 5 years ago, folks, talking about communitarianism and start planting trees and start growing your food. I hope we've all tried to do a little bit. I've tried. I've failed a few times, but I've tried and I will try again. And I encourage you to keep on trying too. Just because I failed doesn't mean you have to fail too. Okay, folks, I think that's enough ranting from me. What do you think? Like, I'll just come on. We'll just come on every now and again. As soon as I can get the phone lines up and running, we'll have a conversation between ourselves. But these streams, this show, it's just for you guys that tune in and turn in now on the live show. We'll spitball it. And come back next week for your suggestions. See how the people, the candidates, will we hold a chart up? Will we put a chart up on the wall of prospective candidates that we'd like to see take over the start of a political organisation or a revolutionary organisation? Is there a general commander out there that you feel would be good to organise and get 3,000 to 4,000 young men marching on the streets to help fucking patrol and take care and take our streets back? It's going to take us an army. We need to start building it. We need to start building that army and enforcing young men that they are there to help defend the nation, and they are going to be called upon soon against these woke drungalites. I will stop. It's just a fantasy football league. It's just fantasy football. I'm just making it up in Minecraft. Groceries inflation went up 6.2% already this year. Yeah, year on end. Look at your butter. We just have to look at the basics. $4.50. What was I paying? $4.59 in 23, and then I remember coming up to the end of 24, 25, we were getting up to $5.40, and now we're hitting on. We'll be hitting on €6 for a. And again, I've turned off completely off Kerrygold. That's not the Kerrygold I ate years ago. That is just more palm oil. I go into the bread and I'm looking at the bread section because I try and get it as best bread as I can to help. And now I'm looking fucking, and I'm seeing those guys on Instagram since we got banned off TikTok and showing you the amount of palm oil in all our bread, in all the bread sources, just to keep it on the shelves longer. I'm like, I got to start making. You got to make your own bread. You got to make it completely other way. And again, I'm trying to be mindful of the fuel that I put into my body. I try not to buy any of the food stock out there as much as I used to. I'm bringing it all with me and bringing my own coffees and drinks. I always thought the way to go was to infiltrate the main parties. GT. I know, like Cecile take over Fine Gael. That worked out. Do you remember that Brian that we interviewed years ago, the young fella that was for Fine Gael? And he did a great interview, but they rounded on his family. They shut him down. And that's what I'm saying to you. It's going to take one of them that's willing to risk it for all of us. You know, you got Robert Lowe in the UK, these people that are establishment figures, but are honest. They've come up, done it through their own bread and butter, and are now speaking everything that we talk about. There is no taboo subjects. I seen that Avonmore lightly salted butter. That's the butter I'm using now. But Kerrygold, I swore by it. I have eaten it for years. But what they're putting out there now is not the butter that I remember. It's like Cadbury's. Cadbury's got a flake the other day, and I'm aware now that there's less cocoa in it and there's more out of. And I took the flake stick out, and it was just like a stick of crayon. There was no flake to the flake anymore. I was like, nah, I'm done with Cadbury's. Fuck you, Cadbury's. And I'm addicted to chocolate. I have a bad chocolate addiction. Chocolate addiction. Get that out there. I do have a chocolate addiction. I am weak. Palm oil and all the butter and chocolate. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's just... And oil, try not to cook in oil, trying to be sensible and cooking in butter. And now I'm cooking in animal fats as well when I can. Buy natural pounded butter or even try and make your own butter. But then I want to get natural milk. I don't want to get pasteurized milk. I want to get raw milk. I'm on the Crayola, yeah, 100%, Karen. Yeah, chocolate is ranked now as well. Well, if you go out decent, if you can get that high cocoa, if it's not 70%, 75% or more, it's stored. Yeah. And I seen the only one that they did that's on the shelves that you could possibly use is Toblerone. That has a very minimal amount of palm oil. That's the one I've been using at the moment. And I always had an addiction to Toblerone as well when I had teeth. Hey, how you doing? Okay, folks. I think we'll wrap it up there as well. I really appreciate company. Thank you for being my therapy here for this last hour. Just let me fucking rant and get it off my chest. Just let me keep banging the discs. Yep, I've a bag of bone and tallow to sort out tonight. Fair play, what a shambles. It's soy milk, rapeseed oil and palm oil now and all the chocolate. Yeah, absolute muck everywhere. It's just pure fucking poison the way they're bringing us over that way. How about for all you hardy bastards that are in there as well, and liver. Although I did have a very bad experience, shambles with liver. I got raw liver out as well, and I was dipping into that raw liver. I fucking poisoned myself. Something bad. It was not as bad as the last food poisoning I got, or the last poisoning session that I had there a couple of months back when I went into hospital. Do you remember? I was fucking 7 litres of fluid I had to get pumped back into me. But that liver, just be mindful with the liver where you get it. Unless you're fucking pulling it straight out of the animal yourself, be very careful. And you, sheepdog, as well. Let's have a quick roll call, and I'll let you go. And I appreciate you coming in and sticking your head in there, just putting up with me there for the hour. Because like I said, it's frustrating, it's annoying. It makes me not want to come on here and be with you, because I'm like, I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to keep coming in and rage baiting or pointing out fucking the horrors that we're all aware, and we were aware before they even happened, because we knew they were coming. And I'm bored of doing that with you. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to see action. I want to see more. I want to see the tide turning in our favour. And I'm sick of DEI representatives coming in and saying that they're going to represent our voices and fight our cause for us because they have the permission slips to speak for me or to speak for you, because they have the right skin colour or they have the right ethnicity or they have the right this and that. If you're not Irish, you don't need to speak for me. I'm quite capable of speaking for myself, and I don't fucking need you to speak for me. I need you to get the fuck out and go back and build your own country. I'll help you with that and to beat the band. Don't come in here trying to move into me and mine, what my generations and all of ours made, thinking that we'll just take it over. Stop being so uninclusive. And you need us. We need you. We need you to come over here and help us. Go back to your fucking own countries and start building them up and bringing the money, even the money the false credit money that's there, bring it back there. Start building the roads. Start building the houses. Start looking after each other. But you won't do that. You won't do that till we fuck you out. And that's what's coming next. I'll finish it on there because it sounds good. But I'm not about sound bites. I'm about action. I want more action. Are people waking up? They're waking up, but they're too afraid to do anything about it. Like the Epstein. You mean to tell me they're eating baby? Yeah, I told you that 10 years ago. You mean to tell me they're scared to death and selling their blood? Yeah, I told you that 10 years ago. Fuck all happened then. Fuck all's going to happen now till we take action ourselves and do something Not about that specifically. Some things are certain out of our control, but if we don't start conducting our business here and effectively organising together and proffering up people that are willing to stand, Paul Quinn in the National Party, on the councillor sections, Gavin, Malachy, all these people that are mistrustful, they're there. They're our opening salvo, and look at the effect that they have. We might not all agree with them in every instance on what they're doing, but they're calling bullshit on the system, and they're speaking out, and they're playing merry havoc with them because they can't control the narrative like they used to. We need more people like that. And like all the Ain-Twos, you're all baby fence sitters. There's some great councillors at Ain-Two, but you're not a Republican Party. You still want an open borders. You will still not fight just for the Irish alone, because you'll want to include everybody that you're trying to try and help. Fuck everybody else. Look after the Irish first and only. And if I'm speaking about any other concern, then you're not my party. You're not my person. You're not my leader. Other than that, I don't give a fuck. Sorry about that. It's getting to me. It's getting to me. God bless you. God bless yours, fellas, boys and girls. Love you all to bits, and I appreciate you letting me have the rant, yeah? See you next Monday. If you can, if you would, please join me then. Please leave your thoughts, comments and witticisms in the comment section down below if you can't be bothered. Up the Irish. Slán go bhfear.